never I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, or see them yopo.
All MMDAs, only 4% of the, what do you call it, adult population of Ghana had tax identification numbers. Only 4% had tax identification numbers. So we made the decision. I said, look, why don't you make the Ghana card number the tax identification number? Suddenly, once we did that, suddenly 85% of adults in Ghana suddenly have tax identification number. So we can tell going forward who has filed, who hasn't filed, where they live, and so on. We tackled corruption, passport office with digitalization. And since we digitalized operations at the passport office, revenues have gone up almost 9-fold at the passport office. 9-fold. Same with DVLA, digitalizing DVLA. We've seen significant increase in revenue. When we digitalize ECG, and ECG no longer collects cash for payment of electricity, you've seen revenue collections go up from 450 million Ghana cedis to 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, just by digitalization. You are looking at paperless ports, and the way clearing goods at the ports have gone so far. Everybody can attest that you have been able to see a reduction in corruption on assets and liabilities declaration. I want to expand the asset declarations by public office holders to include, among others, senior staff and heads of regulatory and public institutions which were not previously covered. And I also want to require that asset declarations be made or updated every 2 years instead of every 4 years. I want to place limits on foreign official travel by ministers, CEOs, and civil servants, as well as annually publish official travels undertaken, and also annually publish the list of all beneficiaries of public scholarships. So that is one area in terms of the corruption fight that is in the manifesto. Maybe it must have skipped some people, but it is there. I think it is Andy who was asking the question that, you know, all the promises are about integrity and trust, and the fact that real hardships exist, and how would people trust that I will be able to work on the hardships. I think that, you know, the issue has to really be about what have you done? I mean, what is your track record on these issues of social intervention, right? What have we done to relieve hardships? I think, frankly, the MPP, whether it's President Kufuor's government or President Akufo-Addo's government, has a solid record when it comes to social interventions to deal with hardships. The record is very, very solid, whether you're talking in education with capitation grants, or the increase in the payments to persons with disabilities, which went up by 50%, or free SHS, or free TVET, or increased absorption of BC and WACC examination fees, and so on. The free water during COVID and all of that. The social interventions are very, very massive, actually. The issue with my opponent, who is a former president, is that he cannot point to one social intervention. One, that he can point to, that this is how I, notwithstanding all that has gone on, when I was president, I was able to do this to relieve the suffering of our people. There's just not one, you know, there's not one social intervention. So that is the issue. I believe that if you look at our promises, as I said, the 2016 manifesto, we've done about 83%, and 80% of the 2020 manifesto fulfilling or fulfilled about 80%. So we have more credibility, and I think the people of Ghana can trust us. When it comes to dealing with hardships, we are always front and center, whether it's providing free dialysis or sickle cell or childhood cancer. We're always thinking about it. And for me personally, you know, I always worry about the poor and the vulnerable. And this is why I am a patron, for example, of the Lepers Aid Ghana, and also for the Mother Teresa's Soup Kitchen in Accra. I'm also a patron there because I want to help people who are vulnerable, and that's where my heart really is. So I think we can do a whole. Then you have, I think it's Evans, who protecting Ghanaian cultural values and so on. I think that is very, very important. He asked whether the bill, when it comes, I will sign it. I mean, the bill is before the Supreme Court right now, and I think once the Supreme Court brings it, I think there are certain challenges that have been made to it, to say that it is not consistent with the Constitution or whatever. But of course, we will wait for it to come, and once it's out of the Supreme Court and they declare it as constitutional, I believe that signing is automatic. There shouldn't be any issue. No ifs and no buts. Bawumia.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV. Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.